You think you need massive food plots to pull mature bucks? What if I told you that 1 acre or less, if planted right, can pull more deer than a 10-acre food plot? If you're hunting small land, planting a food plot can feel overwhelming. It can feel like you're trying to cook a 5-star meal in a tiny kitchen. You have limited space and no room for error. But here's the truth. It's not about size, it's about strategy. And what we've learned is that if you make every square inch count, you can outperform properties 5 times the size. It just takes planning, knowing where to place the food, how to create security, and how to control pressure. Once you figure that out, even small land can hunt big. My dad, and he's gonna help explain some of this. But anyways, in this video, we're gonna show you how to build a deadly food plot layout even on just a few acres. We're gonna cover why big food plots often push deer away, how to use screening and structure to make deer feel secure, and how to design a plot that keeps deer coming back all season long. And also, there's a trick that you can use to draw deer closer to your stand to make easier and better shots, but we'll get back to that later in the video. So Dad, why do big, wide open food plots often push deer away?
All right, so basically, when we first started out hunting on our property, we would make these large food plots. We figured green, lush food plots, as big as you could get them on your property, means we're going to see more deer. And that first year, we saw deer, but mostly does. Almost never saw a buck unless it was at nighttime on our trail cameras. And we were just dumbfounded on why we weren't seeing any deer, even though we had these perfect food plots with beautiful green, whether it was turnip greens or whatever. We could plant pretty much anything out there and it didn't matter. The deer just weren't showing up during the daytime unless we were going to hunt does, And of course, once we hunted the does, after a little bit, we found that even they wouldn't come out during the daytime because we spooked them all. All right, so we started doing research and we quickly found that deer do not like to be exposed during daylight. Their survival is strictly based on them being hidden from predators, and we humans are their biggest predator. So that was the first big lesson we learned about our food plots. So in our second year, we actually used our native plants such as goldenrod and fennel grass, and we allowed them to grow up in our open food plots that we had from the previous year to create walls of cover so the deer would feel secure moving through our food plots. So this turned our wide open food plots into tight spaces for deer to move. And right away, we saw a huge difference using this cover with the deer movement in our food plots. They were showing up more during the daytime on our trail cameras, and that was not just does, but also bucks at this point.
And that season, my dad shot a buck and a doe. I shot my first buck, and my brother Tucker shot his first deer, which was a doe. But we didn't stop there. We wanted to shape the way the deer moved. So, Dad, how did we do that?
Yeah, so in addition to using the native plants, we started also breaking up our food plots to make them into smaller units using brush piles, curved edges, pinch points, just anything we could think of that would help not only make the deer feel like they were on a much larger piece of property, but also make them feel secure no matter where they were on our property.
So deer are creatures of edge, meaning that they move along the edges of where two habitats meet. For example, it would be like a wood line meeting an open field. They would move along that wood line. And when we gave them edges to follow, they started moving naturally during shooting hours. Think of it like designing trails in a forest. You don't just go in there and clear out a field. Same thing with food plots. Deer need direction, cover, and purpose, not a wide open food plot where they feel exposed.
Now, back to one of the points that we made in the beginning of our video about how to get deer closer to your stands. We're going to look at a video from one of our guys that we like to watch a lot of his videos. His name is Ken with Hobby Harvest, and we're going to let him explain this to you guys.
Let's get to it.
The secret is how you shape it. So the reason being is when you put a food plot in the woods, it is going to attract the deer herd. Whatever green is growing in the woods is going to inevitably be a better food source than what is naturally available to the deer herd. So that is going to attract the deer to wherever you put that food plot. And then you can build the rest of your attractions off of where that food plot goes because of that. Now, the problem is you can put in this big, huge 2-acre food plot and it attracts the deer, but if you're trying to hunt them off of that food plot or off of movement into that food plot, they might just go to that other edge over there and never even come into where you are. So how do we fix that? Well, it's of course the shape of the food plot. So you guys have heard me talk about this before. This food plot that I'm on right now is shaped in the shape of a boomerang. That means that as we head over this way, what is behind me is a direction that the deer can come from, but inevitably they will come up here, which is about the center of the food plot. And I'm going to turn here and you're going to see behind me that there is actually the stand right there. And so what we're trying to get to happen here is we're creating this middle area here as a pinch point that the deer have to come up from that area, come to this pinch point, and then go that way or vice versa. And the reason why we want to shape it like this is deer will always follow edge when they move. And also those bucks are going to want to be checking this entire food plot for does. So if we make it so when he steps out on one edge that he can't see the whole food plot, he's going to have to wander through that pinch point in the middle in order to check out the other wing or the other side of that food plot. That's when you get him immediately right in front of you.
Hope you enjoyed that video. Go check out Ken from Hobby Harvest. I'll link his channel down in the description. But anyways, so we're going to kind of give you a visual of an aerial view of what it looks like in a drawing. So Dad, start drawing what a boomerang food plot would look like.
All right, guys. So that's basically what a boomerang type plot looks like. You see how you got these larger open area here, which is still not a lot, but it comes to a pinch point. You're basically building your food plots where they funnel your deer, because deer like to move through the plot. They don't stay in one place. And when they move around to that food plot, and this is all going to be like all kinds of high, tall grasses around the edges, right, where they can't see from one side to the other. And they're going to want to move around that, especially bucks, because they're going to want to look for does to see if there are any other does or deer in the plot. And you're forcing them to have to go around because they can't see. So they're going to walk around, and you have your deer stand set up inside of that funnel point so that you get a better opportunity to shoot a deer at a much closer range than trying to shoot a deer way out here.
And also, different groups of deer do not like to be eating with each other. So it also allows you to have multiple groups of deer in the same plot at once, and they won't even notice each other if you have a group of deer here and a group of deer over there. So here's the main takeaway. Big plots don't guarantee daylight movement. Screening and structure build trust and allow deer to move more comfortably through your plots. And the way you shape your plots play a role in deer movement. You don't need tons of acres. You just need to think like a deer and have the right strategy. But this is all useless if you do not understand the real role food plots play in habitat management. So go check out this video where we break that all down. That ends the video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And with that being said, see you in the next video.